This year's conference, we focus on the topic scaling European space capabilities for security and defense and how to get from ambition to implementation.
I think what the conference shows is the multi-stakeholder environment of space when it enters the defense field. So I think we really were able to bring in these different perspectives from the space commands, from the policy side of things, from the implementation side of things, and as well as the think tanks.
The panel I moderated was about military space perspectives, so it was complementary with the other panels because we wanted to have a more operational view of what's happening in military space, and we discussed with representatives of military space entities from various countries, and it really allowed to have a kind of 360 view on the challenges but also key developments that these actors are facing. What I really liked when we asked for recommendations for new countries willing to engage more in military space, I think the points raised by the panelists were interesting, so raising awareness of policymakers but also creating dedicated structures and making sure that space is really understood as a fifth domain of operations.
The essay competition is now part of a tradition during the autumn conference. This year's essay competition is the second edition. It's actually a place where young professionals and students can take the floor, promote their own essays, and this year's proposed themes were all aligned with the conference topics, so on security and defense.
What I really like with the autumn conference this year, I mean, it's not the first year, but the room is really full, which shows a strong interest in security and defense topics.
I don't think there's one specific highlight. I actually think the whole 2 days of the conference really brought home some real truths about Europe and the space industry in the context of security and defense. And I think it really highlighted a lot of the challenges of Europe to actually use and leverage the space industry to enhance its security and defense, but also a lot of the opportunities too. And I think it really showed there's still a lot of silos that need to be broken down before we can truly exploit the opportunities that we have.
From a more personal note, it was absolutely amazing to organize this year's autumn conference and be in contact with key stakeholders across Europe, but also globally. It was also great to be able to network with people during the coffee breaks, but not only, also during the evening reception that we had.
Major success. We had more than 200 participants over the 2 days. We had 45 nations in the room. Maybe a few key takeaways. One, security is much more than military applications. The duality of space is evident, it was evident in this conference as well. The clear message also, we need to be pragmatic, we need to be inclusive, we need to work with all actors in Europe, be it the member states, states of Europe, ESA, the European Union, and industry equally. Scale is important. We are, in comparison to international partners, underfunded. We need to scale up also the financial support for space and space for security and defense. And last but not least, is Europe a space power, and security and defense is an element of this. And with this, I invite you also for next year, Autumn Conference ESPI 2025 here in Vienna. I'm looking forward to this.